How are we doing, EFD? And today we have 10 British players who decided to play abroad. 10. Gary Lineker. Yes, Lineker did shit himself on the pitch in front of millions of people watching worldwide, but 4 years before that, Lineker shone at Everton, and at the 1986 World Cup, he was the top goalscorer in Mexico. During the tournament, the striker was in talks with Barcelona and eventually moved to the Camp Nou for £2.6 million, joining manager El Tel and another British addition to Catalonia, Mark Hughes. And Lineker was a hit in Spain, scoring 20 league goals in his first season, as well as a hat-trick against bitter rivals, Real Madrid. He went on later to score the winning goal in 2 more Clásicos, before falling out of favour due to injuries under the newly appointed manager, Johan Cruyff. Lineker came back from Spain with a Copa del Rey and a European Cup Winners' Cup. Not as successful as he may have hoped, but he did make a huge impact for Barcelona. 9. David Platt. Spending the bulk of his career at Crewe and Aston Villa, Platt's performance in the 89-90 season saw him pick up the PFA Player of the Year award, and his consistency at Italia 90 led several clubs to chase after the midfielder. Surprisingly, it was Bari who got the Englishman, paying £5.5 million for his services. It didn't go as planned though for the Cockerels, as they succumbed to relegation despite Platt's best efforts of 11 goals in 29 appearances. During the last 6 months of the season, the captain of Sampdoria, Roberto Mancini, practically stalked Platt, begging him to join his side. Platt didn't take up the offer though, instead joining Juventus, where he won the UEFA Cup despite being a bit part player. Mancini was still phoning Platt every couple of weeks, and they finally played together at Sampdoria and won the '94 Coppa Italia together. 8. Chris Waddle. One half of football's greatest singing duo, the others coming up next, Waddle's honours all came in France, where he won the league every season whilst playing at Marseille. He was part of a star-studded side, which included the likes of Ballon d'Or winner Jean-Pierre Papin and Abedi Pele. Nicknamed Magic Chris due to his tendency to watch Paul Daniels to overcome his homesickness, Waddle's impact at the Stade Velodrome was so great he was actually voted as the second best Marseille player of the century, behind Papin in 1998. Unfortunately for Waddle, he failed to pick up a European Cup with the side after reaching the final in 1991, where the club from the south of France lost out to Red Star on penalties. Marseille did win the elusive trophy in 1993 though, the season Waddle left for Sheffield Wednesday. 7. Glenn Hoddle. Now we get to the other half of Glenn and Chris. Why didn't they call themselves Waddle and Hoddle? Anyway, aside from making 80s hits, the mulleted wonder started his career at Spurs, winning the UEFA Cup and 2 FA Cups before moving to Monaco in 1987. Under the tutelage of Arsene Wenger and alongside players like Patrick Battiston and the emerging superstars like George Weah, Hoddle won a League One title and a French Cup. Though the Englishman's most fruitful season came whilst Marseille romped the league, as Hoddle netted 18 goals in 32 league games and he was voted the best foreign player in France. Wenger later heaped praise on Hoddle's wonderful technical ability and compared Santi Cazorla with the Englishman due to their two-footedness. Hoddle's veered away from anything more than punditry after his turbulent time as a manager, but still remains one of England's finest exports. 6. Paul Lambert. To those unfamiliar with the former Aston Villa manager's playing career, Lambert was a tough and dogged midfielder who aided Borussia Dortmund's Champions League triumph back in 1997. The German side's most famous player at the time was Matthias Sammer, the Ballon d'Or winner of 1996. Not many fancied Dortmund's chances when they came up against Manchester United in the semi-final. They managed to dispatch the Red Devils though by winning 1-0 in each leg, with Roy Keane heaping praise on the Scots' performance. In the final, Dortmund came up against Juventus, and Lambert was appointed the task of trying to keep a certain Zinedine Zidane out of the game. Lambert managed to do just that, even setting up Dortmund's first in a man-of-the-match performance. By lifting the Champions League with Dortmund, the midfielder became the first British player to win the competition since its reformation, and the first Scot to do so for a foreign club. 5. David Beckham. Possibly England's first celebrity footballer, it seemed as if every time he stepped outside his house in the late 90s, he was surrounded by paparazzi. But a technically superb winger, albeit a bit slow, was a huge success on the pitch and was the first Englishman to win a league title in 4 countries. An East London-born United supporter, there's a shock, Becks managed to achieve his dream of not only becoming a pro footballer, but also to play for his boyhood club. After nearly 400 games, 6 Premier League titles and a Champions League success later, his relationship with Fergie became stretched after the United boss kicked a boot at his head, and then Beckham was eventually Spain-bound. Originally destined to sign for Barcelona, Real Madrid ended up getting Becks as part of Perez's assembly of superstars, but won just 1 trophy, a La Liga title, during his 4 years at Madrid. In 2007, Beckham went stateside, winning 2 MLS Cups before bidding an emotional adieu at PSG, winning the League One title in 2013. 4. Steve McManaman. The second Englishman to ever play for Madrid after the late revolutionary Laurie Cunningham, McManaman was possibly one of the most underrated midfielders of his generation. Though he was never the greatest individual talent, Steve McManaman's versatility and determination moulded him as a hero during his time at the Bernabeu. Winning 8 trophies in 4 seasons for Los Blancos, including 2 league titles and 2 Champions Leagues, McManaman is England's most successful ever foreign export. Del Bosque called Macca a fantastic player in every sense, as well as a caballero, a gentleman and a stupendous guy. Whilst Johan Cruyff described the Englishman as Madrid's most useful player during the famous era, high deserved praise for one of Los Blancos' favourite sons. 3. Gareth Bale. Seeing as the Welshman is still going strong in the Liga, it's a testament to how good Gareth Bale is that he's already on the top end of this list. Still just 27 and already the holder of 2 Champions Leagues, the flying winger is continuously improving at the Bernabeu. Averaging more than a goal every other game in the league, his combination with Benzema and Cristiano Ronaldo has helped Real Madrid achieve La Decima, as well as the club's recent 40-match unbeaten run, but has still yet to see league glory with the Whites. Only entering his prime, there's plenty of time for that to change, and with the era dominated by Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo coming to an end, one eye of Bale's must be set on winning the Ballon d'Or. Although with tough competition from Neymar and Antoine Griezmann, it'll be an impressive achievement if he manages to become the first Brit to win the honour since Michael Owen in 2001. 2. John Charles. Il Gigante Bueno, or the gentle giant for us linguistically challenged, John Charles has been labelled by Jack Charlton as the most effective player he's ever seen, and by Juventus as their finest forward. He finished 3rd in the 1959 Ballon d'Or votes, behind Raymond Kopa and Di Stefano, but the Welshman was probably the most unique footballer of that era. Starting his professional career at Leeds, Charles bagged over 150 goals for the Yorkshire side, even scoring 42 times in 39 appearances in the 1953-54 season. But his talents were truly showcased when he joined Juventus for a British record of 65k. Alongside Sivori and Bonaperti, Juve's front line was nicknamed the Holy Trinity, but Charles wasn't only known for his goal-scoring prowess. He was also as good as a centre-half as he was a striker, and would usually drop deep if Juventus were trying to see out a victory. Charles earned 3 Serie A titles, as well as 2 Coppa Italias, as well as the respect of the footballing world due to his fair play. In his entire career, the Welshman was never booked or sent off, and never intentionally kicked his opponents. A true British great. 1. Kevin Keegan. The only British player to win the Ballon d'Or twice, Kevin Keegan had to top our list. Starting his career at Scunthorpe before moving to Liverpool for around 35k, the forward had the privilege to play under 2 of the Reds' greatest ever managers, Bill Shankly and Bob Paisley. After winning 3 league titles, an FA Cup and also a European Cup, Keegan decided to move to Germany, becoming Hamburg's highest paid player, with fans hoping he could lead them back to their former glory. Following a dodgy first season, the forward managed to do just that, winning the Bundesliga in his 2nd campaign and finishing runner-up in the European Cup the season after. The Mighty Mouse, as he was nicknamed, bagged 40 goals with Hamburg, before moving back to England with Southampton in 1980. Easily the most successful Brit to go abroad. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and if you've got any suggestions, stick them down in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed that, why not check out Stat Wars? And as ever guys, don't forget to like and subscribe.